In the NBA, there are numbers of players that are hated by fans and the media for pretty good reasons. Dillon Brooks is hated by a majority of the NBA due to his shit talking and the antics he does on the court. Grayson Allen is hated by fans for being considerably a dirty player. But there are some players that are hated by the media and fans, and there's no real reason, but just because that's the narrative around their name. But unlike the other examples where they're hated by most of the league, this narrative is only really held by fans, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And the funny part is, this player is respected by most of the NBA, if not all of it.
What's my favorite player in the NBA?
It just shows you how all around D-Book is. You know, a lot of people look at him because he's such a pretty scorer. You know, he could do things so effortless.
Like to see Devin, like at times when he just running, boom, and he go right, left, catch and shoot, boom, and he can do it off the dribble. And he a guard.
The narrative around Devin Booker's name has been quite interesting. For the past couple years, he's been considered to be one of the most hated players in the NBA, and there's not really a good reason. Now, with that being said, there are some things that have happened that people refer to on why they hate Devin Booker, and I want to go over some of them today. But in the end of this, I think you're gonna realize why the Devin Booker hate is just kind of weird. Now, quick side note, I'm going to be using 2-for-1's video on Devin Booker that he made, I think, about a year ago as some of the talking points, because he did talk about some of these instances. But of course, that was about a year ago, and it's been a year later, so some stuff has definitely happened since then. Now, something very common to hear when people talk about Devin Booker is, oh, he tries to be Kobe Bryant. And I understand that. I feel like there is a small group of players in the NBA that have a similar style to Kobe. Obviously, I'm not saying they're Kobe Bryant, but maybe they play like him, or maybe they have some similarities, or they were inspired by him. And to a lot of people, I think we all kind of agreed that if there was a carbon copy in the NBA of Kobe Bryant, like the closest thing we were gonna get, it was Devin Booker. That was until I saw Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Like, what the fuck is this, bro? Now, all troll shit aside, I think most people were to agree that Devin Booker had the most similarities to Kobe Bryant. Now, of course, that's not to say that Devin Booker and Kobe Bryant, I see them as equals. Obviously, Kobe is by far a better player, and not many people try to disagree with that. But I think if you look at their play style, the way they play the game, even their mentality in some ways, they do have some similarities. Now, I could understand people being mad at Booker for quote-unquote trying to be Kobe if he was really trying to do that. Everyone says he's a wannabe Kobe, but in reality, what does Devin Booker think?
You know, it's something that everybody has going on right now, and you know, I didn't make that comparison myself, and the advice that he's left me with, you know, so I try to take bits and pieces of his mentality and his approach. But, you know, I should never be compared to Kobe Bryant.
The person that we're saying is a wannabe Kobe doesn't even want to be compared to him. Where does that make sense, guys? Like, I couldn't tell you how many times Devin Booker has constantly said he doesn't want to be compared to Kobe. He's his own man. He was inspired by him, but he's not trying to be him. And yet people still say he's wannabe Kobe. And the funny part is that Jason Tatum did his own little Kobe Bryant cosplay during the 2022 finals, and people were not as mad as they were with Booker. I think what they got mad about the most was the fact that there was that Kobe Bryant text where he texted him like, I got you, and people were just clowning him. But the year before, when the Suns made the finals, the Kobe Bryant comparisons got brought up once again, and he shut that shit down. I think we're allowed to be inspired by icons or the greats, the ones that we look up to, but I don't think that means we're just a carbon copy of them. And I know that Kobe Bryant was a mentor to Devin Booker, and that's one of the big reasons why people say he's a wannabe Kobe, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of weird to me. Now, as NBA fans, I feel like we constantly make comparisons to other players, so I'm not even mad about that, but it's just the way it gets talked about. Now, I already know this is gonna get brought up, so let's talk about it. The double team clip. I feel like everyone has seen it at this point.
Hey, let's go baseline. Go. Hey, bro, we're not doubling in open gym, bro. I get that shit all season, bro. Come on, man. Let's work on our game.
Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen this clip, and I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it looks pretty bad. But I think the irony about this is that years later, Devin Booker has started to thrive against double teams. Also, let's face it, I could see how that's definitely annoying in open gym. Now, should he have complained about it like that? Maybe not. But years later, it seems like Booker has definitely matured, because you have to remember that was in what, 2018, 2019? But I think the biggest reason why people hate him is the beefs that he gets into. Now, the most recent one he got into with was Paul George. If you guys do not know, Paul George has a podcast called Podcast P. And on that podcast, he had a guest, and that guest was Klay Thompson. And if you guys remember, Klay Thompson and Devin Booker got into it back when the Suns played the Warriors, I think around a year ago. Maybe it was less than that. And this is where we got the infamous four fingers, which has to be one of the most annoying things I've ever seen. Now, about 3 weeks ago, when they were on that podcast, Paul George had asked Klay Thompson about the situation, and this is what he said.
You know, stuff doesn't age well. Now that it age well for me, like, I don't need to be flexing 4 rings, bro. Like, everybody know that. That's on Wikipedia. Like, My game wasn't where it was at, and we all get insecure at times.
Yeah.
I'm not man enough to admit that. I'm man enough to admit that we all have our moments of weakness. So I'm not really proud of that one.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I gotta give a shout out to Klay Thompson for being very mature about the situation. And you might be saying, oh, well, why was Devin Booker pressed about this? Well, he put a comment basically saying that Paul George tried to set up Klay Thompson to give that response. Now, as someone that is a part of a podcast and does a lot of the hosting, even though we all kind of take turns doing it, I can tell you firsthand, whether we have a guest or we're trying to talk about a certain topic, that usually we try to kind of bait stuff. Now, do I think Paul George was doing it? Honestly, I don't know. But I think what a lot of people forget is that Paul George and Devin Booker don't necessarily like each other. At least that's what we've seen on the court. Maybe they're friends off the court, I can't tell. Now, because of that, maybe Devin Booker thought Paul George was trying to set up Klay Thompson. Maybe he thought he was just trying to take shots at him. And who knows, maybe Paul George was trying to set up Klay Thompson. But it's small dumb things like this that gets people to hate Devin Booker and call him a bitch or call him sensitive or whatever. On top of that, you add all of this up with just the trash talking that he constantly does. Whether you like it or not, multiple NBA players have came out and said that Devin Booker is a trash talker, and I mean, we all kind of knew that. But the issue is when you trash talk somebody and then you just do not live up to what you said, and that has happened to Booker in the past. But the thing about being a trash talker is when you do prove people wrong, they don't like to see it, especially when you're slowly becoming one of the best players in the NBA. I made my top 100 video. Some people actually commented in the comment section and asked me why Booker wasn't in the top 5. And honestly, I think I had him at number 7 or number 8. But there are a general amount of people that believe that Booker is a top 5 player in the NBA. And if he's not there, he's on the bubble of it, which I'd have to agree with. And the weird thing to me is that Booker is constantly getting better and getting better. Not only him, but his team. And this season, it looks like they have a legitimate chance to do something in the playoffs and possibly win the finals. But a lot of people just don't give a shit. A lot of people don't like Booker so much and think he's a sensitive bitch that they're just gonna talk bad about him. Something that I thought was fascinating was Devin Booker in the playoffs this year and the absolute run that he went on. In fact, most people were saying he was the best player in the playoffs overall, and honestly, I think it's a two-way tie between Devin Booker and Jokic. Obviously, Jokic went on to win the finals, so I'd probably have to give him the edge over Booker. But I think what fascinated me the most was the fact that for a good period of time, everyone in the NBA thought Devin Booker was the best player in the NBA. Obviously, I didn't think this was true, and I knew that this run wasn't stable. But after Phoenix would lose in the second round, I was very interested to see what was going to happen this upcoming season. This Suns team is a lot better than they were the year before. Kevin Durant is finally going to get a full season with his team, and Bradley Beal, I think, is going to unlock something in Phoenix we've never seen before. The rotation is a lot better, and I think Devin Booker this season is going to be in the running for MVP. Now, my question is, what happens if Devin Booker has the season I think he's going to have? A season where he averages over 30 points per game and the Suns are the 1 seed and they go on to win the finals. What happens if Devin Booker proves to everyone he's as great of a player as we think? Is he gonna get hate just because of dumb shit he's done in the past as a young player or the petty comments that he's made? Or are people gonna finally start respecting Booker? The Devin Booker hate to me has been kind of weird. I see Booker as one of the best young players in our game, and I feel like he's starting to develop into a superstar-esque player. Some people think he's a superstar, some people think he's not. Me, I'm kind of on the edge. I think Booker needs to do a couple small things in his game to improve to that level, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. I do think that some players are going to constantly have a narrative around their name for them being pretty hated, and I don't think Booker's any different. I think as the years go on and as Booker finally starts to win, that maybe the hate will start to go down. I've even seen some of his haters come to his defense and say how good of a player he actually is. Whether you love Devin Booker or hate him, at the end of the day, this man is becoming an icon in the NBA. I mean, how could you not love someone that was an underdog coming into the NBA? Someone that was just supposed to be a catch and shoot merchant. Someone who played on one of the worst ran franchises in NBA history, had a new coach every damn season, had a new roster every damn season, and did not run to go join a super team. He created his own. How are you going to hate on greatness that is soon to come? So I'll say it one more time. The Devin Booker hate, it's weird, and honestly, it's weird as fuck at this point.
Against Booker tonight, I mean, he went straight to my move. The first time he caught it, dude, yeah, you're not gonna beat me on my move, man. Like, you know, but I mean, it was great to see. It was absolutely great to see, because I remember I did the same thing with MJ.